Hey guys, David here from GoogooD55 Tech Tutorials, and today I'm going to be showing you how to forward a port on your router. Okay, so let's get started. So forwarding a port on your router will allow you to connect to some sort of local area network service by using your network's external IP address over the internet. For example, let's say I have a server on my local area network with an IP address of 192.168.1.100, and I want to be able to SSH into that server over the internet. SSH uses port 22, so what I could do is in my router I could forward port 22 to 192.168.1.100, and then if I'm in a remote location and I want to SSH into that server, I can SSH into that computer by SSHing into the external IP address on which that server is located. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to log into your router. This can be done by opening up a web browser, and I'm using Google Chrome, but it really doesn't matter. And you're going to want to type in the IP address of your router. In my case, my router is 192.168.1.1. Hit enter. And you'll most likely need to enter in a username and password. If you're not sure of the username and password, and it hasn't been changed since you got the router, check your router's instruction manual. It will contain the default username and password to access your router's administration page. Also, most routers' IP addresses are 192.168.0.1, 192.168.1.1, or 192.168.2.1. If you're not sure, you can go ahead and check your network settings on your computer. The router is the IP address of your gateway, or in my case on the Mac, it actually says router instead of gateway. So in my case, you could see here that it is 192.168.1.1. So once you're at your router's administration page, you're going to want to go to Network, and you should have an option for port forwarding. Some routers might also call this a virtual network. So once you've gone ahead and found the port forwarding option, just click it. And in this case, I'm going to be forwarding port 22, which is the SSH port, so that I can access my server remotely via SSH. It's going to ask you to give the rule a name. Now, in some routers, you have a bunch of rules that are automatically pre-configured like I do here. However, I really don't like to use these, so I'm just going to create a new rule. I'm going to call it SSH. You can really name it whatever you want, though. The protocol. If you're not exactly sure whether the service that is being transmitted over this port is using TCP or UDP, you can figure it out by just doing a quick Google search. Ultimately, you can also just leave both selected. It won't really make a difference, but if you're certain that it only uses one of the two, you may as well just select one of the two. Now, SSH only uses TCP, so I'm just going to select that. And the source port is basically the incoming port. So which port from your external IP address do you want to be forwarded? So in my case, port 22 again. For the destination IP or host name, now some routers might make you type this in manually. However, mine, you can actually just select the list here. So my server is 192.168.1.100, and the destination port is 22 also. So basically what we're saying here is when the external IP address of this network gets a TCP request on port 22, hand this request over to port 22 on the device connected with the IP address 192.168.1.100. So we're basically forwarding all the traffic on port 22 that comes in through the external IP address over to that server that is on 192.168.1.100. Once you've done that, just hit save, and there you go, the port should be forwarded. Now, if you want to make sure that the port is forwarded correctly, you can use one of these tools such as canyouseeme.org. Just type in the port number and hit check port. And you can see here that the port is successfully forwarded. So right now, this is my external IP address right here. So this is the IP address of my internet connection. So let's say I want to access my server via SSH over the internet. All I'd have to do is SSH just like normal, but instead of typing in my server's IP address, 192.168.1.100, all I have to do is type in my external IP address. And you can see here that I have successfully SSH'd into my server over the internet by just using that network's external IP address. Now, one mistake that you might make is trying to do this while you're on the same network. You can't test it to make sure that it's working properly if you're on the same local area network. You need to be somewhere else on the internet. So anyways, that's how you forward a port on your router. So thanks for watching, and I hope I helped. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button down below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more, and also don't forget to check out my Facebook and Twitter page. Also, don't forget to check out my website at www.googooD55techtutorials.com. All the links are in the description below.